I think it can be spelled out in this way, that there was an elegance about his play. He was the great purist, the great specialist, and he had perfection to Gaelic football.
I have no doubt that history will judge Mick O Connell as the classical exponent of the pinpointed kick and the high fielding.
He was a very easy type of person to play with once you understood what he was looking for.
I never saw anything like him, and I don't think I'll ever see it again.
There's a lot of talk nowadays about bringing in young players, this, that, and getting rid of the older players. The question I'd like to ask a lot of people and selectors and those is, when does youth end?
Well, I didn't think he was finished last year, Anna. Well, that was the last I saw of him. He trained for the Munster final last year against Cork, and as you know, we were well beaten in that game in Killarney. But I thought we were a little unfair to him last year. We brought him on the second half against the wind, and if he had been played for the full hour, I think he'd have contributed a lot to that game.
And Mick O Connell there, getting a tap on the back from the man he played against so often at midfield, Dennis Long.
Was this to be his last appearance for the Kingdom, for whom he had performed with regal splendour for over 15 years? Now he tells his story.
First of all, let me tell you a little about my childhood. People who have never visited Valentia might be forgiven for thinking it is an island similar to others around the coast of Ireland, such as Cape Clear, Arran or Tory. Far from this, there is nothing remote about the place. If you could imagine it being given a strong push, it would fit nicely up against the adjacent mainland of South Kerry. It has all the ruggedness and grandeur of the west coast, with many spectacular beauty spots. What really put Valentia on the map was the arrival of the Western Union Telegraph Company to lay its transatlantic cables about 1860. The resultant employment was a great boost to the economy of the island. That briefly describes the place I was nearly not born in on the 4th of January 1937. My father, a fisherman and ship's pilot, had only a few years earlier migrated from smaller Bigness Island nearby. Typical of many families living on Valentia, our means of livelihood was fishing, supplemented by the produce of the small farm we lived on. When I arrived on the scene, there were already 3 girls and a boy. 2 boys and 2 girls followed later. So, being placed in the middle of the family, I was perhaps destined for the midfield position. My boyhood memories, apart from football, centre mainly around boats. In the summer, we towed for mackerel and pollock. In winter, we would go poling for scallop, a shellfish which could be seen on the more shallow parts of the harbour on a clear, calm day. There was no football history in my own family, except perhaps one first cousin, John Curran. My father, however, took a keen interest in the game and never failed to buy us a new football.
I don't know, they all marked him, and he, young fella, that he was very nice at it. He started with the minors there, and he jumped from the minors to the seniors in 2 ticks, and he held his place all along there in the games.
At the national school, I was very lucky to be with a good number of equally enthusiastic students, or schoolmates, and that there was playing space available. All of us who played together at the national school were colleagues afterwards on the Young Islanders team.
I taught Mick O Connell here during the latter years of his elementary school life, you see. And at that time, I found him to be extremely careful, ambitious, all the time anxious to give up his very best. he was exceptionally good at mathematics. Well, he was equally good at most other subjects, but especially his special bent was mathematics. He was in that yard there, you see, there he learned his football. And he wanted to be best there as well as to be best inside.
Our home was a two-storey house situated at the top of a 6-acre field with a natural practice ground. With my brother John, the Lynches, John Shanahan and other nearby neighbours, we did not leave much grass for the cows and pass to that field. The marks left by the ball on the gable ends of the house also bore testimony to our many activities. Bridging the gap between the national school days and 1955, there was a 5-year spell commuting to Castlevine Christian Brothers Secondary School. And on its staff, the mathematics teacher, Mr. Hurley, was of national reputation.
I found him a very zealous student. I'd say now that if you take him now by the present-day standards, he would be an A in maths, and possibly an A in applied maths. Afterwards, when he went to the university, he got a first-class honours in his first year's engineering, which was a tremendous accomplishment, seeing that we had no science lab here, and that he had no physics or chemistry done before going in.
You have particular memories as well of him playing football in Terrace Talk.
Oh, I have, yes, definitely. As a matter of fact, I'm one of those people who, when Mick was a young fellow, who really thought that he'd never make a footballer. I suppose I'll be condemned for saying this, but he was playing with the Dunlow Cup team. We were playing in Killarney, and he was a young lad playing with the seniors. Perhaps he was too young for the match at the time, but at all events, the trainer of the team was dissatisfied with his play, completely dissatisfied, and put him into goal, and he was no goalie. The following year, there was some improvement to my mind, but then when he was in leaving certificate, I remember the South Kerry, or the County Board Championship was on, and Mick O Connell was selected at midfield. And I was one of those who was saying, well, I don't know how Mick O Connell got to be at midfield, but I went up to Tralee, and I was absolutely amazed. I stood there with my mouth open. I saw not alone a footballer, but I almost thought a ballerina in the ballet. The way he was able to jump up in the air, catch that ball, field it, and then he knew where to send the ball.
At this stage, I was taking football very seriously, and everything else took second place. Then, too, I gave up studying engineering at University College Cork and got employment with the Telegraph Company on the island. The £3 per week and the freedom to train and play football was enough for me. 56 to 59 was not what you call the most successful period in my time with the Kerry team anyway. 56 beaten by Cork Canary play in the Munster final. In 1957 beaten in the first round by Waterford. And then 1958 won the Munster Championship but beaten in the semi-final against Derry. So, but still, we had got through to the Croke Park Championship for the first time, and I think that was the stepping stone to 1959.
Han gach 2 mile an cliffe, úsle na tíre is stehegus na mílte fáca I mór. Gailes túsce dinsaí ach tá tacaí hir ar a láidir. Kerry Ginsey.
Here is the Gaelin newsreel of that 1959 All-Ireland football final. The previous winter, Mick O'Connell was determined to change from being an average football to being a top-class footballer. He trained intensively by walking, running, jumping, and it paid off. His regime of rigorous training, which he began in 1958, he has continued up to the present day. In 1959, Kerry won the National League for the first time in many years. In the Championship, no one was able to stand in their way. They beat Tipperary easily. They beat Cork in the Munster final. Then in the semi-final, Kerry had to face the combination football of a first-class Dublin team and an attendance of 70,000 people. That semi-final of 1959 has gone down in history as a classic football match, and people who saw it said O'Connell was at the top of his form. Now they face the final and a first-class Galway team. Galway had already defeated Down in the other semi-final. Mick has very few pleasant memories of that game. He says himself that he was overtrained, and when he twisted his knee in the first quarter, he was virtually out of the game, rarely gaining possession of the ball. However, it was to him, as the 22-year-old captain of the Kerry team, it fell the honour to receive the Sam Maguire Cup for the Kingdom for the first time since 1955.
Joe Frank Ivers. Ag Miho Lade. Nachher Faril. Búlin Persil it's Asno, nachher Ashige, agus sin Coolin. Joe Young Ruharinil, Coolin Gahale. Cool board in the Gallivus Sawwalls, a Haranino, Cool Gihiri. Stockwell a Ruppery Hockey Shiri of Tippenary Share and Bodish and Oil. Kigar Galia Book until Lord Porke, either a Calluans Gafo Taylor, and Thomas Lawn on the Guinea. And Shade Chico Gary McMahon, Bullen on Power, agus a staff. And Trio Cool the Shiri, agus all Law Yo, go Neo Hoover Dale. Ronan and Dr. Stewart and Colin Mary, Bihovo Cummel, Captain Shiri.
That evening, he left behind the celebrations and went back to Valentia Island, crossing as usual in his small rowing boat.
In time, he heard the special thunder of the island shore. He hauled the boat in, sheltered near a rock, and smiled to hear the sea's defeated roar. Breathing as though the air were infinitely sweet, he watched the mainland where the hard wind struck. The island clay felt good beneath his feet.
Here he knew he was back among friends and could renew his strict training schedule.
It was the attitude of a lot of players that time that to be seen training was kind of a sin, that you should be able to play football without training. I think that was the attitude of a lot of players that time, which is really foolish.
It was Sunday, the 25th of September 1960, and for the first time in the history of the GAA, a very strong team from the 6 counties down faced the Kingdom of Kerry. It was only Mick O Connell's second All-Ireland, and he didn't think they would have much trouble defeating a team which were largely unknown to Kerry. But he was in for a rude awakening. There was real skillful, dashing football by the down forwards, Paddy Doherty, Tony Hatton and Brian Morgan, playing havoc with the Kerry men Sean Murphy, Tim Lyons and Jerome O'Shea. But despite the speed and the extraordinary combination-type football played by the down men, the teams were quite close on the halfway mark. In the second half, Kerry even began to catch up, levelling the scores. Then came the break that Down were waiting for. Kevin Musson kicked a clever sideline kick. It was caught by Jim McCartan. He sent a lobbing ball into the goal mouth. It fell out of Johnny Cullity's hands into the back of the net. In the following year, Down faced Offaly. That game started in a welter of excitement, as we'll hear now with commentator Micheál O'Hare.
You'll enjoy the game. The band has left the field. Mr. Hugh O'Byrne, the president of the Gaelic Athletic Association, about to throw the ball in. Referee checking his watch. There's the whistle, there's the throw-in, and the All-Ireland final is on. And James McCartan of Down is first to break away. He's going upfield with it, but his way is blocked there. Blocked there by Sean Brereton of Offaly. Sean is forced over the line on the far side, and there's a line ball for Down. 55 yards out from the Offaly goal on the far side of the field. A short one by Jarlath Carey, up along the far wing to Tony Hatton. Tony Hatton 40 yards out now from the Offaly goal, sends the ball across in towards the centre, and coming out for it with his cap there, well down over his eyes, is Mick Brady. The ball goes on the loose there to Breen Morgan. Breen Morgan gets it 35 yards out, a curling shot in towards the goal mouth. It's fielded there, and it's sent in high and to the right, and yes it is, it's gone over the bar for the first score of the game. Paddy Doherty. The first score of the game, Paddy Doherty took one from this side. It had a curl on it, and one had to wait until the umpires gave their decision as to whether it was in or not. It was, and so after 45 seconds of play, Down lead 1 point to no score. A lot of these Offaly men donning peak caps to keep the sun out of their eyes here as Greg Hughes takes the kick out into the centre of the field. Held there by one of the cap-wearing Offaly men, Mick Brady, up to the far side. Ball held over there now by Patsy O'Hagan, and Patsy for Down sends a long ball downfield. And it is held by Breen Morgan, 40 yards out. Breen, a low ball in towards the goal mouth, and racing across is Tony Hatton. He's shouldered off the ball, and coming out for it now is Willie Nolan. Willie Nolan, the goalkeeper, his kick is blocked down. The ball's gone out over the end line, and it's wide. Down doing the attacking up to now, and the breeze, well, there isn't a move on any of the flags on the ground. The tricolour blowing slightly across the field, but I think the sun is the only part of the weather that's having any serious effect on the game. A bright sun behind down in this first half, and out comes the ball. It comes to Peter Daly on the halfway line for Offaly. Daly tips it out along the far wing. Coming down for it now is Howard Donnelly. Donnelly has it now 50 yards out from the down goal. He's been tackled by George Laverty. He's still got the ball. He sends it in, a high one, across into the centre. And it is brought down out there and held by Mick Casey. Casey has it on the 21-yard line. He's going through, he takes the shot, and it's gone. The goal!
And so to 1962, when Kerry faced the men from Roscommon. To get to this final, Roscommon had to fight very hard. It had been a memorable Connacht final for Roscommon, with their 33-year-old captain, Jerry O'Malley, dominating. He had brought his county to a 1-point victory over Galway. Roscommon had then gone on to beat Cavan by 2 points, and now they faced the Kingdom of Kerry. It seemed as if the Connacht champions were on their way to their first All-Ireland medal in many years, but it was not to be. Mick O'Connell, Mick O'Dwyer and Tom Long played magnificent football in this game, and Mick himself was in deadly form, scoring 7 points altogether from frees. Kerry's final score of 1 goal and 12 points to Roscommon's 1 goal and 4 left no margin for doubt. Now watch for O'Connell's giant leap for the ball in this 1962 game against Dublin.
Meant for John Timmins, but Sean O'Sheehy sees it and clears. Des McCain to Mickey Whelan. Mickey Whelan, a very clever ball, but his own man gets in the way of McIntyre. Kevin Coffey. Mick O'Connell tumbled there, but certainly still in possession. And he wins a free, but he certainly came down very heavily.
Let's see it again.
Purely accidental there. 2 players going for the ball. Here comes O'Connell again. Mick O'Connell coming away in a sore run for Kerry. He's gone 20 yards. There's a shot for goal. He's tossed it, but no, he just puts it wide. A great effort there by O'Connell.
A team of good individuals. We often discuss that when I speak coming home from those games or doing those years with Mick O'Dwyer, and we used to be comparing the individual Kerry players against the Galway players at the time, and we couldn't see the reason why we were being beaten time after time, and that was the conclusion we came to, that because Galway played with teamwork and Kerry didn't at the time, played a very individual game.
And why was that, Mick? Why were they? Why were the Kerry team not playing with teamwork?
Well, it must have been the system of managing the team or something like that. Most players, I think, in Gaelic have been inclined to be individualistic, and unless they're handled otherwise, that's the way the game they'll play in the field.
Kick out by Mick Morris. Out it comes to the far side of the field. Jody O'Connor in possession now on the 50-yard line. Sending it upfield. Mick O'Connell has moved into the centre. There's some switches here, and it's worked. And here comes Mick O'Connell up along the left wing now. Racing out for it. Jojo Barrett trying to save it from going over the end line. He saves it from going over. He's tackled by Enda Colleran, and Jojo Barrett sends a high lobbing ball across the Galway goal. Fits it out by Noel Tierney. Mick O'Connell's there now on the 21-yard line. He takes his shot, and he sends it over the bar for a point. Over the bar for a point for Kerry and Mick O'Connell. And Mick O'Connell has been moved in as centre half, forward, with Mick O'Dwyer left half forward, and if he has, John Donlan has moved after him, and John Donlan is now playing on him. And the score, however, is 4 points to 2, but it's Mick O'Connell in possession to Mick Fleming. Fleming out to the left wing. Line ball taken, and it goes into the centre when Mick O'Connell has moved into the centre of the field position now, and John Donlan first timing it, ballooning it away down the field. And John Keenan trying to get into possession. Just can't. Back there, and Galway going right through in front of the goal. Johnny Cullity coming out for the ball, and a short-fisted pass out to Todd O'Donoghue, who's been tackled, but Todd gets his kick in right up into the centre of the field. Waiting for it there, and under the dropping ball is Mick O'Connell, and here he comes, away up the field, soloing, then passing to Mick O'Dwyer. Mick O'Dwyer, 50 yards out now, being tackled. It doesn't worry this number 11 of Kerry, and he tipped it back to O'Connell. O'Connell shouldered outside the 21-yard line, has fallen on the ground. He still has the ball, and the referee has penalised him for holding the ball too long. Early on we were saying that Mick O'Connell wasn't in the game, but since we've said it, believe me, he's very much in the game. He is in fact now playing at centre field with Donny O'Sullivan gone into the half-forward line for the Kerry man. And from this free it goes straight to the Kerry man, Mick O'Connell, with that number 12 on his back. And Mick from Valentia sends it over to Pat Griffin. Pat Griffin, 60 yards out from the Galway goal. Across to Mick O'Dwyer, 50 yards out from the Galway goal. Mick O'Dwyer straight through into the centre, where Tom Long gets it, 10 yards out, 14 now. He's trying to make an angle for himself. He takes a kick, and it's deflected out over the end line. And slipping off a foot there, going loosely towards Nick Fleming. Nick Fleming's kick eventually going to Mick O'Connell. Mick O'Connell on the ground. John Donlan behind him, waiting, anticipating his turn, then Mick O'Connell tipping it back to John McCarthy, and John sending it well up the field. Brought down now by Jojo Barrett, and a great save there by John Geraghty. A blinding shot from close in by Jojo Barrett, deflected over the end line at the expense of a 50, but it looked as if it was going to be a goal, and going in to pat him on the back there, Noel Tierney, very much relieved, no doubt, by that great save. The ball went off the goalkeeper, out over the end line, and so the attacking team gets a 50-yard free kick from the 50-yard line opposite the place from which the ball went out. Mick O'Connell to take this one. And he lobs it in towards the goal mouth. Brought down by Noel Tierney, and Tierney, this thundering man from Milltown, County Galway, sends it a short pass towards Mick Garrett. Mick Garrett for Galway. Up the centre of the field, Matty McDonagh, Paud O'Donoghue going for it together. Breaks between them. Paud O'Donoghue getting it now, being tackled by 3 Galway men and shaking them off as he sends Kerry attacking again. The attack broken up slightly, but the ball goes to Mick O'Connell. John Donlan racing to the ball, getting it right through the centre. Now Seamus Layden coming across on the far side, getting it, having it knocked out of his hand, and he's getting it again. Fisting it to Matty McDonagh. Matty can't quite race out far enough to it, and the ball goes out over the line. 14 minutes gone in the second half. And Kerry playing with the slight breeze in this second half. Donny O'Sullivan manhandled out there, and he doesn't seem to like it as the referee blows his whistle and awards a free to Kerry. Just short of 70 yards out from the Galway goal, out in the centre, Mick O'Connell to take it. And knowing the fighting spirit of Kerry, I'd say the next 15 minutes are going to be a thriller dinner. And in comes the ball into the goal mouth. It's blocked out. It comes out. John Meade draws on it, gets it out a bit the field. Mick O'Connell racing down for it now. And Mick is well and truly, but illegally brought down there with a swinging round the side of his jaw there as he was brought down, and there's a free in for Kerry. 35 yards out from the Galway goal. Mick O'Connell to take it, almost in front of it. And he sends it high, and he has sent it over the bar for a point for Kerry to narrow the gap now. Mick O'Connell, the scorer. The referee having a look at his watch. I don't think he's the only one doing just that at the moment. Niall Sheehy's kick out. And there goes the final whistle, and Galway are champions. Galway are champions. And what a scene of wild enthusiasm. That's what he said that a year ago. They said that Galway, who were beaten in last year's final, would be back soon. And how right he was as he presents the cup now to an obviously highly delighted John Donlan. Everything set now. The band moving off the field. Backs and forwards in their positions. Can Galway retain their title? Can Kerry win their 21st? That's the question of the moment. Referee checking his watch. Many others in Croke Park doing the same, and the game is on. And first to break away are Kerry. Mick O'Connell getting the ball up the field to Mick O'Dwyer. Mick O'Dwyer with the ball in his hand. Then up along the wing, but blocked down by Martin Newell of Galway, up to 50 yards from his own goal. Martin way up the field. The ball tipped down onto the far side. Jerry Connor misjudging it, so does Cyril John, and it's Mick O'Connell for Kerry, up to Terry O'Shea, who is pushed in the back. It's quite legal to shoulder a man, but you can't push him and you can't hold on to him. Legal, too, to hold the ball in your hand, but illegal to pick it straight up off the ground. This free taken by Mick O'Connell, well up the field. Well held. Martin Newell with the ball now in the the centre of the field, tipping it out to the wing towards Seamus Layden. He's beaten down by Seamus Murphy for Kerry to Dennis O'Sullivan in the centre of the field. Dennis, a curling one across to the far side. Jojo Burnett trying to get to it, can't quite. Falls on the referee, is blown his whistle and awards a free to Kerry from about 40 yards out for a bit of pushing and dragging there. And a free for Kerry, dead straight in front of the goal, and about 40 yards out, Mick O'Connell to take it. Mick O'Connell sends it high and over the bar for the first score of the game for Kerry. Mick O'Connell, who is one of the modern legends of Gaelic football, sending that one over for Kerry to make the score now. Goal by 2 points, Kerry won.
Well, it was in 1968 that Jackie Lyne took over, really after a very bad year in 1967. Probably the worst Kerry team of my time anyway lined out that year. And there was something badly needed to bring the game back to life in the county, and Jackie was the man that did that. When he took over the team in 1968, really it was very poor. He did a wonderful job. He transformed it, and I think but for Jackie, Kerry would never have won the 2 All-Irelands of 1969 and 70.
Now, to go back to 68 for a moment, like, how did he reform the team? You know, what did he do?
Jackie was one of the few men in my time that I could say his enthusiasm was infectious, that any player that was in association was bound to lift his game and do his very best for him. And I think that's the way the Kerry players worked with Jackie.
What were the most memorable parts of 1968 for you?
1968, probably the winning of the Munster final in Killarney. It was a surprise. Cork had won the 2 previous years, and this Kerry team was really on trial. And Cork had started off that game in Killarney very strongly, had a good lead up, and in the second half, really Jackie's training showed in the team for the first time. I thought, well, maybe in the final then, it was a bit of a disappointment, no doubt, because of the way Down won it, but for the great start that Down did have that day, I doubt if they would have won in the end.
Kerry were playing good football that day then?
Yeah, Kerry played good football all right that day, but they were fighting an uphill battle with an 8 points lead against them. Really, they'd come so far, and Down might pick a score again, and it was very hard to win a game like that.
Could you describe for me the goal that Sean O'Neill got?
Yeah, I can remember that goal all right. It came at a vital time for Down early in the game. It was a harmless-looking ball. It could have either gone wide or just barely scoped inside the very top of the upright. When it dropped dead down at the post, Sean O'Neill was in like a flash to touch it in. A lot of people think that was a very lucky goal, that Sean just happened to be running there. But I think to the tribute to Sean that he was so eager for the ball that he did follow through.
Up and down, 35 yards out, a curling ball, that's happening, and it's a goal! It's a goal! It's a goal! The ball hit the upright, and Sean O'Neill, the goal! The ball hit the upright, came down, and it came onto the foot of the stumbling Sean O'Neill, and into the net it went. What a surprise goal. And it's down in the attack again. The attack broken up out in the centre of the field. But it is John Murphy of Down with the ball now. Willie Doyle way up the field to John Purdy. John Purdy being tackled by Seamus Murphy. John Purdy still with the ball. Seamus Murphy still after him. 60 yards out from the Kerry goal. Into the centre to Colin McAlarney. On the 50, on the 40, on the 30. Tony Sullivan knocks the ball out of his hand. In there too, Jess Downey gets his boot to it out to the far side of the field, where it is tapped on the far wing there by Eamon O'Donoghue. He's beaten, and the ball goes into the centre, brought down by Mick Fleming, gone back to help the defence. Mick Fleming way up the field, where it goes to James Milligan of Down, and the Down man from 60 yards out sends a dropping between Paul O'Donoghue and Sean O'Neill, and the referee has blown his whistle and awards a free in to Down. Free to Down, 14-yard line, and Paddy Doherty is the taker. The amazing Paddy, who has already scored a goal and 21 points in the championship this year, and that makes it a goal in 22. It's over the bar. Paddy Doherty, the scorer of that one, making the score. Down 1-3, Kerry 1 point. We make it about 7.5 minutes gone in the first half. And the kick out by Paul O'Donoghue goes towards Mick O Connell, but it's tapped down by Mick, and it goes to Paddy Doherty of Down. Down attacks. again. A long ball fisted out by Paul O'Donoghue. Comes to the side of the field, and Dennis O'Sullivan leaves it to Mick Fleming, who leaves it to another man, but the man turns out to be Joe Lennon. Joe Lennon up along the wing. John Murphy with the ball now into the centre. Sean O'Neill trying to work his way through. A great save! Oh, a great save by Johnny Cullity. Another shot and it's a goal!
Were you depressed about your defeat?
1968?
Yeah.
Well, personally, I never learned to live with defeats. Immediately after every game that we were beaten in, you'd be down a little. It was very hard to be philosophical about it and say that a better day will come. But no, I wasn't, because with Jackie back at the wheel again in 1969, I knew that there was good hopes.
Paul O'Donoghue with the kick out. Brendan Lynch now for Kerry. Out now to DJ Crowley. 70 yards out, now 60 yards out from the Offaly goal. In towards the goal, the ball, Paddy McCormick diving out to the ball zipping across and, oh, a great save by Martin Furlong as forwards came in on top of him there, and Martin Furlong courageously holding on to that ball. DJ Crowley's intended pass intercepted by Larry Coughlin. Larry Coughlin now tussling with DJ Crowley on the halfway line, and DJ gets the better of the tussle, the ball across into the centre, when it's very nicely fielded by Willie Bryan of Offaly. The Offaly man's kick blocked down. Ball goes back to Nick Clavin. Clavin for Offaly on his own 50-yard line, right up through the centre where Mick Morris grabs it. Mick Morris trying to burst his way through. He's been tackled by Ambrose Hickey. Gets a ground pass out to Tom Prendergast, and Tom for Kerry from his own halfway line there. From the halfway line sends the ball way up the field where it's fielded by Mick O'Connell. Mick O'Connell is fouled. And Mick O'Connell's kick is brought down by goalkeeper Martin Furlong on the goal line with a terrific tussle into the goal. A free out. Ambrose.
And it soon became clear that the highlights of this game were to be supplied by goalkeepers Martin Furlong and Johnny Cullity.
He passes the ball across into the centre, a fisted ball by Ambrose Hickey, right across the goal mouth, fisted in towards Johnny Cullity, and Johnny in the Kerry goal clears the ball out as that ball was fisted in near him, but back in it comes again now. Larry Coughlin with it, 50 yards out towards the left. Sean Cooney tried to get his hand to it. Sean Evans has the ball now. He takes his shot. His shot is blocked down by Mick Morris. Out it comes down to Pat Keenan for Offaly. From the 21-yard line, it's high, it's dropping in, and Johnny Cullity, despite the incoming forwards, fits it out. And there's the throw in, and the second half is on, and it is Larry Coughlin back to Willie Bryan of Offaly. And the Offaly man along the ground to Pat Keenan. Pat Keenan now 50 yards out from the Kerry goal, trying to take a shot, takes a high ball in towards the goal, but it's dropped across the goal mouth. Sean Evans has the ball, and it's shot. A great save by Johnny Cullity.
And it was perhaps fitting that it was Johnny Cullity who took the Sam Maguire Cup as captain of the Kerry team. Kerry had won the All-Ireland Championship for the 21st time, perhaps their happiest moment of all.
Once again, Mick O'Connell took no part in the celebrations, but he was not forgotten by any means.
On my head tonight falls an honour far beyond anything I deserve, and far beyond my powers of expression. The honour of welcoming under the one roof the men who won fame more lasting than bronze, in the winning of 21 All-Ireland senior titles for their native kingdom. We all hold in special regard the sole survivor of the first team to win an All-Ireland title in 1903.
Who's the best footballer you've ever seen, Mr. Breen?
Well, now, I'd say that Mick O Connell is the best footballer I ever saw.
I thought always that Kerry was a compact, unified kingdom until the year 1959, and where I learned that there was another side of the story on a visit to Detroit. And on my first evening there, I was cornered by a group of men whom I very soon recognized to be Kerry men, and the first question they asked me was, how good really is Mick O'Connell? This was 1959. And I told them my honest opinion of Mick O'Connell. But the next question kind of stunned me. Was he better than Paddy Kennedy? And I had to use all my diplomacy at this because I didn't know where the company I was keeping at that particular time. But I do still remember saying that for style, nothing could ever equal O'Connell. And while for consistency, I doubted if anything would ever equal Paddy Kennedy.
I remember that in 1969. In fact, it was very similar to 1959 in every way. In fact, it was so similar in fact that I had a good year, probably my best year since 1959, and also it corresponded in that I probably had my worst game in the final that year. For the final that year, I had a bit of muscle trouble, and I didn't train at all for 4 or 5 weeks beforehand, and I was kind of stale going to the game. Offaly probably were not aware of this, and they didn't mark me exceptionally, but tightly enough, so that with Dinjo Crowley at midfield, who I found a very good partner all through that year, Dinjo played a very good game that day, and I think if there was more concentration on Dinjo that day instead of me, that Offaly might have won that game easily.
But did you have any good game in that year yourself?
Oh, I had several good games. One particular that comes to mind was in Gaelic Park, New York, that day, in the second leg of the National League final. I was injured in the first leg and only spent a few minutes on the field. And for the second day, I was still not fit as I thought myself. Until at half-time, I was brought on at full forward. And much to my surprise, I felt very fit and roamed around a lot and got some vital scores for the team.
Another memorable display that year was in the National Football League home final against Offaly.
Connell, who seems to be a real terrier chasing every ball today, comes up now, races up to take this line ball, a short one, which goes in to Eamon O'Donoghue. And Eamon O'Donoghue back to Mick O'Connell. Mick O'Connell about to be tackled by Larry Coughlin, but getting a kick in, dropping the ball in towards the goal mouth. Ball held in there by Liam Higgins. Liam Higgins kick blocked out to the wing to Mick O'Dwyer. Mick O'Dwyer, a curling dropping shot that's over the bar, and it's another point for Kerry. 6 minutes gone. Kerry 3 points. Offaly no score. Greg Hughes taking the kick out. Out it comes to the far side of the field. Mike Shea is under it, 60 yards out from the Offaly goal. Kicks the ball across into the centre. Held out on this side by Nicholas Clavin, and Nick Clavin sends it out to the centre of the field. Ambrose Hickey goes up for Offaly. He's beaten to it by Eamon O'Donoghue. Across into the centre to Mick O'Connell. Mick O'Connell shakes off one tackle and another and sends the ball low in towards the centre where Liam Higgins gets a boot to it. So also does Ambrose Hickey, and it goes more or less between them, but I think it was the Offaly man who eventually finished the kicking of the ball out, and it's a line ball for Kerry about 10 yards from the corner flag on the far side of the field. Kerry playing from left to right in towards the rail or the canal goal, a dropping ball that Greg Hughes grabs just in the goal mouth, and as he's shoulders as he lands, he brings the ball out over the end line, and there is a 50 for Kerry. About 5 yards to the left of the goal on our right, and Mick O'Connell, who a moment ago was up taking the line kick, is now down to take the 50. Standing back now. And here he comes. Into the hand, Greg Hughes, goal, a goal!
1970 didn't start off too well. The Kerry team went on a trip. I didn't go with them, but that was probably the cause of not doing too well in the league, which was as well. But when the championship came around, the team was fresh and eager for it again and went through very well.
They faced old rivals Cork in the Munster final.
Billy Morgan's going to try and kick this one long. He's kicked it beyond the 50-yard line. Mick O'Connell holding it very well. Kicking it across towards Brendan Lynch and Kevin O'Sullivan. Broken by Brendan Lynch to McLeeson. McLeeson being followed and harassed by Jim Curtin, being fouled eventually by Jim Curtin, a free in to Kerry. Mick O'Connell will take it. It's about 30 yards out in the Cork goal, in front of the goal. Mick placing the ball, stepping back. could increase Kerry's lead to 6 to 2 points as Mick kicks it now. It's 2-7 to 2 points.
In the semi-final, I'd say the team got its biggest fright against Derry. Derry missed 2 penalties that day, but in the end, Kerry ran out very well ahead as winners.
That's what he was pointing at. I was wondering what he was pointing at. It's a penalty. Well, Derry have been involved in penalty incidents all through the year. Here's one now with Sean O'Connell to take it. It looked like a free in, then it looked as if he signalled a free out, then a penalty, and here comes Sean O'Connell. No. Here it is. And it's stopped by Johnny Cullity. Seamus Lagan walking up now, and here's his kick. Wide as a gate. Bad misses indeed. O'Connell returned, Kerry recovered, and victory was already assured when young John O'Keefe made his mark. Brian Devlin has gone off the Derry team and has been replaced by Anthony McGurk. And here come Kerry again. It is John O'Keefe. John O'Keefe way up now, right in towards the goal mouth, and it's Seamus Hassan tapping it over the bar. It was easy in the end for the Kingdom, and so to the All-Ireland final against Meath in one of the great sporting spectacles. Kerry's 22nd title seemed easily come by when they went 8 points up in the second half. Dwyer's got it, and Mick O'Dwyer, who's the most effective man on the Kerry team, getting the ball high, dropping in towards the goal. Now John McCormick comes out to it. It's a goal! It's a goal! Mick Gleeson the scorer! But it was far from all over. Meath's great fighting spirit saw them get within 3 points of Kerry, and then came the clincher. The centre of the field, fielded well by John O'Keefe, picking Joe Crowley. DJ going through with it now. A typical DJ run. He's on the 14-yard line. He takes his shot.
Do you have special memories of that 1970 final yourself?
For myself, I have, of course, few memories, but the only real part he played in it was that he scored a couple of good points towards the end, one off play and one off a long distance free, which I think were not great scores, but they were very timely. They in addition to a goal scored by Joe Crowley and another by Mick Gleeson, I think they helped a lot to make sure of our win. 72, and we drew the first final that year, and on the run of play I thought we were very lucky to get a second chance. And the second day, as far as I can remember, Offaly were about 5 points and scored before we got going.
Can Mick make this Kerry's number one? High, and it's over the bar!
When we were going very well, I thought, they scored a rather soft goal when the ball popped in the square from 50 yards lob by Nicholas Clavin and into the net. A very fortunate score for them, but really they availed of their lucky break and went on very deserving winners.
38 minutes gone in the first half. Mick O'Connell to take the free, 35 to 40 yards out from the Offaly goal, and here comes the kick. It's high and it's good! Very near the half-time whistle now. Kerry 8 points, Offaly 8 points. Referee looking at his watch, and I'll be more than surprised if he doesn't blow the half-time whistle when the ball is kicked. No surprise, there's the whistle. And so at half-time, the sides are level. Kerry 8 points, Offaly 8 points. Who's going to last this 40 minutes for better? That's what's going to determine the destiny of the Sam Maguire Cup. Teddy Finney going upfield, 50, 40 yards out. Now 21, his way being blocked and not blocked legally by Mick O'Shea. Mick O'Shea not signaling a wide, but signaling I never touched him. Referee not having any of it, and McCabe being for Offaly. There's McCabe. Ended over the bar for a point, so Offaly making it Offaly 9, Kerry 8, and that is his 6th point of the game. He had scored 6 points in last year's All-Ireland as well, so if he gets one more today, well, he'll have beaten his previous best. Mick O'Shea way out to the far side of the field.
Brendan Lynch trying to get to it, but Martin Healy, the sturdy Martin, way upfield, and the sturdy Tony Sullivan. Drop kick out to the far side. Brendan Lynch running onto it, getting to it on the halfway line. Ball breaks down to Mick O'Connell. Mick O'Connell with it now 50 yards out, now 40. Takes his shot, then he sends it high, and he sends it up the bar. Another point for Mick O'Connell, another point for Kerry, and once again the sides are level. John O'Keefe in under it. Sean Evans is there. John O'Keefe goes up to meet it and brings it down. Liam Higgins going for it. But back is Mick Ryan. Mick Ryan just outside his own 21. And not a very long clearance, not a very well-placed one either. It goes to Brendan Lynch. Brendan Lynch into the on-running Mick O'Connell. Mick O'Connell 50 yards out now. Back to Tony Sullivan, who's 40 yards out from the off-the goal. Passing the ball over on the far side to Mick O'Dwyer on the 21-yard line. Mick back to Tony Sullivan. Tony in now to Brendan Lynch. Brendan Lynch's shot. Brendan Lynch upon. And Brendan Lynch winding up that passing movement that involves the right fullback Tony Sullivan right up to 30 yards from the goal. And Brendan Lynch sending that one over, making the score now. Kerry 10 points, Offaly 9. Excitement and tension now, 1 point between them. Mick O'Connell going to the ball, but it's John O'Keefe who brings it down. John O'Keefe up now to Liam Higgins. Liam Higgins now playing a roving full forward. Liam out gets it back to Mick O'Dwyer. Mick O'Dwyer is shot. A shot that's high and a shot that's good. And it's over the bar. And Mick O'Dwyer puts Kerry 2 points ahead. That's his second point of the game. And Kerry now lead by 11 points to Offaly 9. Paddy Fanning with it now, in towards the goal mouth, a high one, a lovely ball into the goal. It's a goal! Oh, yes! It's a goal! It's a goal!
Well, how would you compare the Offaly team that was playing against you, say, with Down or Galway of the 60s?
Somehow the Offaly team of those 2 years didn't leave the same lasting impression with me as the other teams. Why is hard to tell, because I know in the Offaly I could go through the field with that Offaly team and name half a dozen or half a team of really good players. From Nicholas Clavin, Willie Bryan up along, McTeague is a place kicker, Sean Cooney is another forward, and so on. But I think that Offaly team really did have a couple of players that were inclined to be a bit over robust, and that contained the whole team. Whereas Down and Galway really didn't leave that impression at all. They played more as a team and concentrated more on playing good football.
Now, you're 37 now, Mick. What do you see as your future in football now?
Well, I don't think there's any fixed age, but personally I feel that I'm 37 now, as you said. I feel that provided I could put the same amount of time into it, that I could play as good football as I could 5 or 7 years ago.
Surely a man like this, who has dedicated his life to Gaelic football, should find a place in the association to which he could contribute so much to the game for the rest of his life.
He was an inspiration to any team he ever played with. And if he had a fault, and you'll think this amusing, it was this, that there weren't other footballers who had the same brilliance of mind, of football mind, playing with him, who could anticipate his brilliance.